Hey everybody, this is Shaggy Griffin, and it's about time I gave you guys an update. I have been working like crazy on my cosplay for Otakon this year, and I just keep forgetting to take pictures, and I realize that I have so many people looking out for this costume, and they deserve an update, so you're gonna get one. If you don't already know, I am tackling Deathwing from World of Warcraft Cataclysm. Best boss in the whole game, in my opinion. So I'm going to show you guys what I have accomplished. And here we go. I wish there was some kind of dramatic music, but here is what he looks like right now. I'm going to give you all a full view. And yes, I am playing with my iPod Touch's video camera, since my other camera refuses to work with my laptop. Yes, this is him in all his glory right now. I know it looks massive, and you're right, it is. But my dad and I have created a back harness and PVC pipe structure to make this thing work. And there are some features, some that I won't give away just yet, and some that I must. He has a moving head. We have cables that attach here and will attach to my helmet, so when I move my head left or right, so will he. And he has a moving jaw as well, but that is spring activated. We didn't want to make it too complicated. Over here is where vision will be, at these screen patches at the neck. I included the various cuts that Deathwing has on his shoulder, and it's painted over with latex. And then his stilts that have a moving wrist and huge claws, and then his digigrate and his large club tail, which has a pool noodle inside, cut so that it can move when I walk. Here are where the wings will attach and the wires for the glowing eyes. And the wings will be detachable because this thing is already huge as is, and getting it, even though Otakon is only a 45-minute drive from here, it's still a matter of getting this thing in a car. But the head is detachable. Right here, I'm going to show you. You can do it with one hand. See, those prongs just fit like that. And then we have a little stopper to keep the head from pushing the neck down. And it just fits in like that. And he's a little squeaky right now. We're going to fix that. But then there's a matter of getting into this costume, which is right here. I installed buckles, and I will get in through the chest. And if any of you all know what Deathwing looks like, he is so filled with rage that his chest is bursting open. So I figured that's a good excuse for an entrance point, since his back is clearly blocked up at the moment. And so next, his eyes aren't in right now, where I casted them and we put the LEDs in, and my dad is hardwiring them, so they won't be in just yet. But we're almost to fabrication. I'm almost there. I will be buying fabric very soon and constructing the wings, and this guy will be almost done finally. So over here, I made his horns. These are awesome. I have to thank Kamikaze for her amazing tutorial. And I tweaked it a bit to my liking. What I did is used 1-inch, what do they call it, Pink Panther insulation board. And I cut several pieces of it, glued them together, and sculpted them so that they had the point. Then I plaster clothed them, as her tutorial said. I gave it 2 coats of Mod Podge, which sealed it. And then I glued the this kind of cording that we had in the basement from an old window blind. Hot glued it around to create those ribs that Deathwing has. And she did that with her tutorial. She was making goat horns, so she had a lot more. But I used a few for the effect, and then painted it over with about 3 to 4 coats of pre-colored latex. And as you can see, they don't break. I mean, I had a bigger pair of horns that actually were too big for this costume. I threw them downstairs, they just bounced. It's ridiculous. And then I gave it a light dusting in baby powder because so the latex doesn't stick to anything else or itself. And then gave it a coat of orange acrylic paint because he has lava that seeps through his horns. And then I created armor plating using 2 layers of foamies and this Rust-Oleum spray paint that makes it look like it's hammered metal, and then just glued it on. And those are the 2 big horns, I'll show you while I have time, that fit right here. They're the largest horns of him. Then we have what used to be the small-sized horns are now the medium. And these go right here on his neck, right in that hole. And then I just finished these the other night. These are now the mini horns. They're about 5-7 inches long. And they'll go somewhere right about here. Yeah, he has 3 horns on each side, 6 in total. It's crazy, and yes, it's going to add a little more weight to this, but with the back harness my dad and I created, it virtually lifted the weight off of the center of my back and distributed it all around, so it was bearable. And of course, as most of you cosplayers probably know, you make these giant, awesome costumes, and your spectators think, God, that must be so heavy, how do they do it? Well, for me, I get this excitement just from being there and having a bunch of people see my work, that it's just this energy pool that I pull out of nowhere, and I can keep going for hours. Of course, I regret it later, but hey, it happens once a year, it's totally worth it. And before I start rambling again, this is the mini horn that goes on his nose. And I probably will glue that on soon. I wasn't sure when I wanted to do it because of the fabrication process. Now I'm going to show you another part. Over here is his tail scythe, which was made the same way as the plating on his horns. And it's kind of difficult to show you right now because it keeps pushing off the tail, but it will be glued in place after fabrication of this tail. I don't want to glue it on now, obviously, but it'll fit. It's kind of hard to do with one hand, but it'll fit over top and look really menacing. So there's that. And then there's his feet, which are coated in like 5 coats of spray tool dip, and I'm going to buy the dipping kind today and paint it over like latex, since it's too costly to do the spray paint since the foam absorbs it all. And then I used a technique a lot of furries know how to cut it out slightly so the shoe fits underneath, and you don't have to dedicate one shoe to this foot. It can be all sorts of different shoes as long as the shoe size itself doesn't change. Okay, and last but not least, here is his amazing jaw in all its beautiful glory. Yeah, it's crazy. Originally, we thought this jaw was going to be too heavy to do any sort of mechanism. It would have to be static, but you know me, I won't give up until I know the fight cannot be won. So, with some amazing thinking, brainstorming from my dad, he figured out, using cables and springs, that it would be able to move along with the regular bounce of my head, and the problem was solved. And you see here these bolts along the end. They're actually plastic casts of real bolt heads that I bought from Brick in the Yard. That's his YouTube channel. He has a website where you can get all sorts of casting materials and clays, and then he sold this thing called Bag of Bolts, which was about $3, and it was just this bag of random castings, and luckily there was just enough to create the rivets that are on his jaw, so it gave it more of a forged metal look, and I just thought that was awesome. So today this is going to get a spray coat. It's going to be a lighter color, so it fits more to his in-game model. I did add a little of Shaggy Griffin flair to this costume, but for the most part my goal was to stick as close to the in-game model as possible, because I am just a proportion nerd like that. So I would love to do a suiting up video for you guys, but due to the way I'm building this, until I put the next, I think I'm going to do a muslin coat of fabric just over the parts that are currently covered in batting or exposed, because batting could rip easily. Once I do that, I think I can do a successful try-on. I think that would be best to do before I fabricate it in case anything is too tight or whatever. But we'll see about that. If I do, I will let you guys know. And I will try to get updates soon. And I will put pictures when I do the final release, which he should be done by mid-June if all goes well. Then I will definitely give you guys a video. And Insane Spyro, if you're watching this, Deathwing wants to battle. He wants to fight Reshiram in an epic cosplay battle, so be prepared for that. And I'll catch you guys later. Deathwing is out.